it's so tough to do, but thanks everyone for being here. This is incredible excitement, and it's so fun to see the growth of this specific event. I've seen some people kind of standing in the back. There's plenty of seats on this side, so if you kind of want to snake your way around, please feel free to grab a seat and make yourself at home. But today's conversation and today's event and our theme, Building Ohio's Tech Hub, that is something that we're very much focused on. That is something that we are having conversations around and just in this building, in this conference, but across the state. And Tanja mentioned a couple of the highlights. There is so much happening, and as we like to say, and our friends at Jobs Ohio are so good at pushing this story, Ohio at the moment has this generational opportunity where technology and innovation are really finding a home in our state. Whether it's startups like Tanja mentioned, or whether it's big co-investment, billions of dollars that are coming here, being built here. There's just so much excitement, so much momentum, and there's just so much going on. And that's what today is about. It's about celebrating. It's about seeing this opportunity, connecting these dots, because we have these really big metro areas, 88 counties. There's something happening in them all. And so this opportunity truly is statewide. Before we begin, here's a slide, and you probably wouldn't think starting at a tech summit that you're going to see something that looks like a Western. But think of this and kind of come back to this in a moment. Because right now, if we zoom out even beyond Ohio, technology, everyone's talking about it, largely thanks to AI. And when it comes to AI, there's this notion, this phrase that AI is the Wild West. And so if that's the idea, that's the thought, that leads us then into the next question, which is, does that make data the new gold? So if AI is the Wild West, data the new gold, where are the railroads going? Where's the population moving? Where are things being built, the pickets, the shovels, and all that goes into this gold rush around AI is just one example. And so, of course, if you remember that first slide, that was from the Super Bowl commercial for Salesforce and Matthew McConaughey, where you wouldn't think again that, as we start this conversation around the Wild West, but something like AI, there's so much happening. Countries and regions all across the world are trying to capture this opportunity. And so as we think about today, it's really the Ohio examples, the Ohio perspective on this, the people, the companies, the ideas that are really shaping and building our state's tech opportunity. But before I get into more, I do want to start with a few thank yous. This is our biggest event yet. It continues to grow each and every year, our fourth one. First one we started with like 200 people up in Cleveland 4 years ago. And every year we keep growing, growing, and growing, welcoming more people, more companies, more ideas to the table. And that's not possible without a lot of great people helping us with it. First up is Team Verizon, as Tanja mentioned. They really have bought in and help us build this. And so to the team, we're just so grateful over there. True partners in every sense of the word. All of our sponsors, you're going to meet and see them in this hallway and that hallway. They help make this possible. To get rooms this size, to have food, lunches, T-shirts, all this stuff, it's not the cheapest thing in the world. And so everyone pitching in and really helping makes this a truly possible situation. So our sponsors, thank you so much for making this possible, making today happen. And then we have more. Our expo companies are also lined outside along the hallways. And so as you get an opportunity during lunch, during breaks, you're grabbing coffee and water, please stop by, check them out. They come from all corners of the state, northeastern Ohio, southwestern Ohio, northwest, central, northeast. Everywhere in Ohio is really represented today. And then a few more just quick thank yous before we get going, really. But first up is the OhioX team. We're a small operation, a nonprofit organization, and this work really isn't possible with Keith Instone, who's really leading this show today from Toledo, Bethany from our team. They really dive in and all the little details, all the little things that make today happen, they're really running with that. Our volunteers, they're the ones checking folks in, helping with the run of show, helping make sure lunches are out, the breakout sessions this afternoon are going. So to them, thank you very much. And that team continues to grow as well, which is absolutely awesome to see. Our speakers, we have a great lineup all over the state, all sorts of sectors and industries. And they don't just show up and kind of take stage and chat. They do a lot of prep work. In their day-to-day, they're building, they're doing the technology, the hard work. And so today is a celebration of some of their work, and they get to share their expertise. And they're hopping on prep calls and just trading emails back and forth to kind of prep for everything. And so there's a lot that goes in. So after you hear them, if something really resonates, by all means, please go up and thank them and let them know that. And then our OhioX members. We are, as I mentioned, a nonprofit trade organization. Made possible our work is through our member organizations. They chip in, they help fund this work, everything from startups to Fortune 500s and everything in between. That roster continues to grow as well. And it's so cool to see the growth of our organization, the growth of our membership, the really kind of statewide-ness of everything we get to do. And then finally, you, everyone here. We know people are busy, so to take a full day, a lot of people drive in. I've talked with people driving in from all corners of the state just this morning. Some came in last night. We know that that's a big thing, and we don't take that lightly. So thank you very much for taking the time, choosing to be here. And every year to see that continue to grow, it's because of the vibrancy of that room. And so we're just so grateful and thankful for all of that. But today, it's the conversation is around our state's tech opportunity, what that means, what that looks like, because again, these conversations around AI, cybersecurity, deep tech, emerging technologies, they're happening all across the globe. But today, it's about the people in this room, those people, companies, and ideas that are building and shaping Ohio's impact on all of this. As mentioned, the growth of this particular event is absolutely fabulous, and we're just so grateful for it. And so that vibrancy and the expertise that is in this one room today, you all are building it. This is, as we talk about, built in Ohio and a tech hub on the shirts that we have now. It is because of the work you all are doing each and every day. And so it's just so cool to see people from all over outside of Ohio, more and more coming to this, where this seems to be an annual destination, which we love. And this notion of Ohio's tech opportunity, building a tech hub, it's not a crazy idea. Innovation is Ohio's legacy, from the Wright brothers and the birthplace of aviation to the first men on the moon, the birthplace of inventors. This is what Ohio does. And this Ohio innovation legacy, it continues today. Again, it's being built by the companies here, whether you're at a startup, you're at a hospital system, you're at a university, you're at a Fortune 1000 company. And it's because you're building it. It's the people here that are pushing the ball forward every single day, making all of this possible. And so what we wanted to do, and Tanja did a little bit of it, is we wanted to start with zooming out a bit, seeing some of the work that is happening, celebrating the work that you all are doing. We get to do this macro work and see what's going on in every region of the state, cities across Ohio. So in the future of mobility, everything from billion-dollar EV battery plants. So if you drove up from Cincinnati this morning on I-71, you will have passed the new Honda LG1 being built. You have Drive Ohio using the Ohio Turnpike. So if you go from Toledo to Cleveland, back and forth, there might be autonomous cars and trucks being tested out there. There's so much happening in this space. AR and VR, there's a ton going on here. We're seeing it everything from law enforcement in cities and municipalities. You're seeing it in startups like Trace that recently raised a couple $1 million round. I know our friends at Rev1 are an investor there. Ohio State, right here on campus, in the healthcare ecosystem and hub that we have. People literally fly in from across the world to get healthcare at Ohio institutions. That's incredibly special. And it's because of the technology, the R&D, the innovation happening. And it's happening in places like Chillicothe, Athens, Ohio, Ohio University. There's so much that's going on here. Companies like Augment Therapy. I love this one in Cleveland because Lindsay Watson, she's a former physical therapist that saw the need for this type of technology and decided to build and start a company. And that's something that we should all celebrate. The health tech and biotech. Again, Tanja mentioned the Amgen coming to the state with another $900 million, another 350 jobs. There's not a better place in the world, as I mentioned, to get health care than Ohio. So you're seeing it from startups, from our hospital systems, our research institutions. They're continuing to innovate. They're continuing to attract. And if you need health care, if you need solutions in that space, you're not going to find a better place than in our state. Drones and urban air mobility. This is a cool one. And so we're now kind of, hopefully, knock on wood for our Cleveland folks, out of winter and no snow. But you know, when the weather's bad, things like prescription delivery. So the Cleveland Clinic and others are testing drone delivery for being able to drop that off when maybe there's issues with snow or a senior citizen isn't able to go to the pharmacy. Joby Aviation in Dayton, they're building these flying taxis. So $500 million Ohio Air taxi plant. That photo is Joby Aviation's flying taxi that's going to be built in Ohio. So Ohioans in the Dayton, Miami Valley region are going to be building that. Kroger, Southwestern Ohio, Cincinnati company, grocery delivery. So your barbecue this summer, you run out of mustard or ketchup for the hot dogs and hamburgers. Maybe one day you're going to be able to get a Kroger drone to drop off your last-minute supplies. And so this continues to push the envelope in this space. Advanced manufacturing. This is something, a manufacturing space that Ohio has done incredibly well for generations. We build things in our state. So Path Robotics, they're here today, a Columbus-built startup, $100 million to automate welding, so the shortage of welders. They're raising big dollars, and they're a startup that's advancing in this space. You're seeing Akron, Ohio, and Northeast. They're a polymer tech hub. They're doing incredible work to kind of put Akron, Northeastern Ohio on the map for this, and it makes sense. Goodyear, Firestone, the rubber chemical industry, that is where, the birthplace of tires. That is from Akron, and Aaron Spring from Goodyear will be here later talking about some of this work. Of course, huge news to start this year, Anduril coming to the state. The largest jobs deal in Ohio history for this defense tech Anduril company that's in California, but you can see this poster they have where American blueprints become reality. So Arsenal 1, 5 million square foot, 500 acres by 2035, 4,000 jobs, nearly $1 billion to Ohio's GDP. So this space is becoming more and more important, and Anduril choosing to come to our state because of all that we have to offer, the legacy, the workforce, the people. And this is what the rendering and mock-up of the build-out of Anduril's just south of here in Pickaway County. You'll be able to see what this looks like zoomed out, mocked up in the years to come. Massive, and right now it's by Rickenbacker Airport. Doesn't look like this, and so Anduril's really going to transform what this looks like. At their launch, they brought some of their technology, some of their drones, and this is what Ohioans are going to be building. The Roadrunner, the Barracudas, these things that are Ohioans, those 4,000 jobs, putting these together, the future of this space, which, think about national security and all that, we have to think about and navigate in the world. Ohioans are going to be building some of these solutions. There's certainly more. We like to say that every company is a tech company, so whether you're in banking, financial services, insurance, healthcare, you name it, every company is a tech company. But these days, every company is also an AI company because everyone's trying to navigate this. AI is something with ChatGPT, kind of revolutionized, democratized, decentralized this technology. Technology leaders like yourselves will say, we've been doing AI, generative AI, for a long time, but the rest of us, we can use it on our phone now. And so we see teachers, educators thinking about this. And so these are some of the AI in Ohio headlines, from billion-dollar data centers to policy solutions for deep fakes. You see education initiatives to help get toolkits into the school from our former Lieutenant Governor John Husted, now U.S. Senator. You see all sorts of stuff from, again, hospital systems. If you're driving home and you need a snack, Wendy's testing out AI at their drive-thrus. So this space is obviously huge. We're all seeing it. We're all navigating it. And if we think back to Matthew, this gold rush, what does the AI opportunity look like for our state? How do you connect it all? It's the data centers. Certainly in Central Ohio, there's a boom, but thanks to Meta, now other parts of the state, Bowling Green, Northwestern Ohio, or you think of Washington Courthouse with AWS, billion upon billions of dollars are coming into our state to help build this up, make this AI revolution possible. And so as we think about all of this, what does this mean? How do we connect the dots? How do we continue to advance opportunity, create opportunity, capture it? We've been thinking about what is that opportunity. And so over the past year and a half or so, we set down this path of trying to identify this. And how we did it is we worked with technology leaders like yourselves. Many of you in this room have participated in one way, shape, or form. But we started with AI forums, we did AI roundtables, we've had AI conferences, we've had public-private events where we've captured these insights, we did an AI survey, and through all of these, all across the state in all sorts of cities, over 600 technology professionals and leaders have helped chime in, and we've captured that data, we turned it into an AI report. And so this question, what is Ohio's AI opportunity? I want to share a little bit, just a sneak peek, you can check out the full report later, but here's what we learned. We started with the simple question of, does Ohio have an AI opportunity? As simple as it is, we wanted to start there because if everyone said no, then why are we thinking about it? Why are we talking about it? But the answer is yes, if we get it right. And that was a big piece the technology leaders repeatedly would tell us over and over, that there is a uniquely Ohio opportunity. There's some things we're going to be really good at, and maybe some things that just aren't for us. So first up, what does our AI opportunity look like? The top three, as we've compiled all this data, all these insights, a year and a half, 600 technology leaders: responsible adoption, startup opportunities, and infrastructure and services. So responsible adoption, we're all users. And in Ohio, we do things that matter: healthcare, financial services, insurance, manufacturing. That's not stuff that we can take lightly. That's not stuff that we can just deploy AI to and kind of figure it out later. Those are real-world sectors, real-world industries, and things that we have to take this seriously. So Ohio has a unique opportunity around responsible adoption and case studies, where can we lead when it comes to AI in healthcare? Can we lead when it comes to AI in insurance or financial services? The second is startup opportunities. There are a ton, and you're going to meet some of those today. But what does it look like for more AI-enabled startups? What are tools and solutions? There's also a lot of small business tools and solutions out there that maybe aren't kind of traditional venture-backed startups that we've seen and people get excited about. And then, of course, infrastructure and services, those data centers, building it around. So that, if there's that gold rush, the railway systems, the picks, the shovels, those things. And so the infrastructure and services opportunity. What are some barriers to AI success? That was our next question. What is that? If we do have an opportunity, where should we focus in? What are maybe some areas we need to work on? Because everything's not always rainbow, and we get that. And so today's overly positive, but there are some things that we can come together and identify and work towards some positive solutions and come together. So one is lack of ROI. So that's something, especially a lot of bigger companies we're hearing, that they have great case studies and pilots within their companies, but to deploy it enterprise-wide, if you're at a hospital system, if you're at a big bank, how do you take it from one part of the company to company or enterprise-wide? So the ROI, people are trying to navigate that. Is something like generative AI a solution, or a solution in search of a problem? Or are there some real-world use cases that we can really identify, tackle, and be a leader in showing what that looks like? Second is need funding. So whether you're startup raising, or whether you're enterprise and you're just trying to navigate all of this, and maybe you need more funding because costs are becoming more and more, and some of the data behind it. So funding is a big one. So on both ends of the spectrum, smaller companies, newer companies, and then also really big companies. The funding side is huge, and that's something that if we can show the ROI, how can we be better and smarter at deploying capital? And then workforce. As we talk with companies, this is a huge thing that they are talking about. The talent side of it all. And then we asked, what should we invest in to build an Ohio's AI future? So this was open-ended, and we compiled all these data, all these insights, and this was a word cloud that came out of it. And so all these conversations, sometimes private, closed door, senior technology leaders, you think you're going to kind of hear like the latest of the R&D and all the exciting innovation, but it keeps coming back to education and workforce, the people side. Sometimes it's within the technology teams themselves, and they're trying to get the right talent in the door. And I know we have a tech talent and teams session later, and talking data scientists and hard technology skills. And sometimes it's across the board, where they do something really well within the technology department or team. But if you're taking it across the hospital system, how do the doctors, how do the nurses, how do the staff across the entire enterprise, how do they become part of the solution? How do they become champions within it? So education is a really, really, really big piece here. We're also seeing a lot of excitement in the K through 12 space, where a lot of teachers, a lot of educators are just showing up to today. So I bet there's a few in this room today where you wouldn't think of a tech conference and industry professionals, whether you're at startups or IT or something in between. But we are seeing more and more educators, teachers, that don't necessarily historically have a reason, but they are just here on sometimes their own time, sometimes their own dime, because they realize the importance for their students. And so this education, whether it's K through 12, up to Ohio State pumping out PhDs and doing research on campus, this is a huge piece to our opportunity in the ecosystem, so connecting all that. And so this one key takeaway is that it's about people. The Ohio Tech opportunity, certainly it's about the people that make it happen. And whether it's enterprise-wide and us helping the rest of our colleagues who maybe aren't technology focused, but it's also something where how do we advance this and connect all these dots? Because again, as we think about zooming out at a macro level, there is real interest, there is real momentum in all these pockets of Ohio. And so as part of this, the people side is huge. And that's what we hope in today's conversation. Again, we don't necessarily want this to be something where we are just talking about what's happened in AI or cybersecurity, and you can have that same conversation anywhere. We want this to be a very Ohio-specific conference, a very Ohio-specific gathering where we're really able to make sure that we're advancing the Ohio story because we do have that unique opportunity. And so AI in particular, and this is something that I would say you could take this to any technological innovation, is that it's not just a technological shift, is that it's a workforce and economic opportunity. To build this tech hub, whether it's growing startups or welcoming in some of these large California, venture-backed Silicon Valley darlings to our state, they are going to choose to come here because of the people. And so this workforce, this economic opportunity, the more we can continue bringing these conversations as we go back to Akron, Canton, Toledo, Dayton, Youngstown, Cincinnati, you name it, bringing in the rest of our industries, our sectors that maybe aren't tech-focused, that's where there's a true and real Ohio opportunity, we think. And so today, this conversation that we are all part of, this event, this summit, it brings together this tech industry, education, workforce, government, economic development. And that's really the heart of, we think, again, where this Ohio opportunity resides. You take all of this, and that's where our state can really outkick our coverage and make our mark, because you don't necessarily see all of this working in conjunction in other places, certainly in places like San Francisco and others. And there's certain things that will continue to happen out there. We're not saying that. But this is something that as we continue to advance this, this nexus, this kind of evolution and kind of centering of it all. And this is really what the heart of OhioX and our work is. As I mentioned, we're a statewide organization. Our members include everything from startups to Fortune 500s. We have tech small businesses. We have universities, hospital systems, research organizations. They come from every different sector, every different industry out there. And that's the heart of our work, but where we think the real Ohio tech opportunity lies. So as we like to say, connecting, promoting, advocating, this is what we get to do every single day, connecting. So being in this room, making those connections. I always love when Tanja is doing her opening and asks people to talk to the people on your left and talk to the people on your right, because you just hear such a vibrancy. And I think it's just so fun to see and so fun to hear, because it's instant where you see the connections being made. And so as you're here today, whether you're meeting people in other, maybe you work at a bank, you're meeting someone in manufacturing, or maybe you're in Toledo and you're meeting someone from Cincinnati, this Ohio opportunity is truly that. Because if you go out to Silicon Valley, the Bay Area, how fun would it have been to drive from Palo Alto to Berkeley this morning? But you're driving from Cincinnati to Columbus, it's 90 minutes, a beautiful Ohio spring day, and there's just so much opportunity in front of you. So the connecting piece, the promoting, we're here and capturing this and telling these stories because we really and truly believe that so much of it starts with awareness, where if we are not going out and championing our work, your work, how will people know about it? This marketplace, technology, innovation, it's everywhere. We see it in, obviously, San Francisco, places like Austin and Boston and New York City, but everyone's having these conversations. And so there's kind of a quiet humbleness, I think, to Ohioans and Midwesterners. And so you all are doing the work. You are putting all of this together. You're giving us these success stories. And so the more we can promote and champion, whether it's the work you're doing, people that you know, your organizational partners, that promoting side. And then advocating. This is a huge one. In our model, we're able to do work with government leaders. So I mentioned the work in the K through 12 space. So making sure things like K through 12 education and computer science opportunities exist. So we've gotten to work, for instance, with code.org, where we can call on Ohio's elected officials, public policy leaders, so then they're able to realize that if we don't build a workforce and start K through 12, that we're going to miss a whole bunch of innovators. Because if we just hope that they come to Ohio State or Case Western or Miami University and choose computer science or something like that, we're going to miss out on 80% of the future tech workers out there. And so that advocating part, as you're out there and you come across elected officials, you come across economic development leaders, make sure tech has a seat at the table. We had an event earlier this year with Secretary of State Frank LaRose, and he says if you're not at the table, you're the first to be cut. And that's certainly true for all sectors and industries, and we're trying to make sure that tech has a voice. And so as we think about all of this building Ohio's tech hub, it's that nexus. It's the connecting, promoting, advocating. It's the tech industry, it's government, it's workforce, it's education, it's economic development, and that's really the heart of, we think, Ohio's opportunity. It is something that we very much appreciate you all being here today, and as we get going, just continue that vibrancy, continue all the excitement, continue connecting, building with each other, and really it's a celebration of all that we have going on. So thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day, and we're just so grateful you're here.